Howdy everybody, and welcome to our video for today. Today we are taking a look and working through our closed flow number 4. So this is the curriculum for our level 2s, 3s, and our black belts, and this is coming from our block 4 curriculum. So this is the Kali flow drill that you were learning through all of block 4. And we are going to take you through all of the different parts of this closed flow. And we're going to go a little bit slower, and then towards the end, we're going to just kind of go through the flow nice and smooth and practice starting out kind of slow and smooth and building to faster and smooth still. At the very end of the video, Mrs. G and I will go through this through the partner drills, so that way for those that are at home and have somebody to practice this flow drill with, you can follow along with us and learn how to do it with a partner. So what we're going to do to start is we're going to take our go through each piece just by itself. So we're starting out again in our closed flow, but first let's do a little with respect from the heart. So we're starting out, this is our thrusting series. So again, with all of our closed flows, each one has a different theme, and this is the fourth and final closed flow that we are learning as part of the level 2-3 curriculum, and it is the one that is kind of the most wonky. So all of our other flows always start out with the slashing hits. However, on this one, every single one will start out with a thrust and then go from there. So starting out with the first one, this is just called the thrust 6, or as I like to call it, the Sunkivi 6. So what we're doing on this one is we are set up on our closed flow, but what we want to make sure that we do is that we're on the opposite arm, the top arm is set up opposite as normal. So rather than the puño pointing at our target, getting ready to thrust or to slash, what we're doing is pointing the tip of our stick so that way it's set and ready to thrust. Now, the footwork on this one is different than all of the other ones. Most of the other flows that we do, we're working on that basic V step, right, where we're going up and back. On this one, we are doing the true V step, where we're coming out and back, right? So there is that change of footwork when you get to this one, especially once you're putting all of the flows together. So going through, what we're doing on this one, we're starting on the right side, however, we step with the opposite foot on each and every one of these guys. So first one, again, what we're doing is just the thrust. So we step out on the V, and we're going to thrust, flip that one all the way over to the shoulder as we come out with the second hit, and that's the same as all the other flows. But now as we draw this one back, we want to pull it back into the thrusting position rather than flipping it over to the shoulder like we normally do. So from our hit, we pull back as we do our third hit, and we're stepping to the back of the V, and then we're coming through. This arm is going to tuck as this one does the thrust and comes over to the other shoulder. We hit, we pull it back, keeping that tip pointing at our target as we come with our third hit here. Stepping back, we go to the other side. This one's tucking under as we step and thrust, hit, hit. Back and over, thrust, hit, hit, 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 thrust, slash, slash, thrust, slash, slash, thrust, slash, slash, thrust, slash, slash. So that's part number 1. Part number 2 is now when we start to change after that thrust. So this one is called thrust and slash. So this one is starting with a thrust and then turning into kind of the normal 6 count. So what we're doing, same step, we're going to be moving off onto the opposite side. We're starting in the same stacked position here, making sure the tip of our stick is pointing at our opponent. So what we're doing is we're stepping out, we're going to thrust, and then we're going to flip the stick around, and now it's in that slashing position that we normally do. So from here, we're pretty much doing the regular basic 6 count. So slash, flip it over, slash, and then again, we want to pull this one back into this position here as we come into the third hit, so that way we're more set up for the other side. Step it back, we go to the other side, tuck the arm, we're gonna thrust, flip it around to the slash, and then bring it over, slash, and then draw it back as we slash, and we step back to the back of the V, and we do it again. Thrust, slash, 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 thrust, slash, slash, thrust, slash, 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 thrust, slash, slash, slash. Here. Other side. Woo, almost forgot the first one there. Thrust, slash, 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 thrust, slash, slash, slash. One more time here, and that's it. So, that again is part number 2, thrust and slash. Now the next one is probably the weirdest one, though each of the next 3 are a little bit wonky and a little bit weird. They're very similar to like the Ratiki flip that we do. So we're gonna be sending our stick around. So on the last one we thrust and then we kind of make our stick flip around, but now we're gonna add some energy to our flips. So we're either going to hit our stick up and flip it to low, we're gonna hit our stick down and flip it up to high, or in this next one, we're coming out and we're gonna hit and flip it to the other side. So this one is called thrust reverse. So, and the thrust reverse basically means that we're doing our thrust, we hit our stick and we're bringing it all the way over, and we're doing a slash here again, but it's a reverse from what we normally do. Normally the slash that we do first is coming from this side, and then on this one we're actually coming from the opposite. So here we go, let's do this. Now, for this one, we want to be already set up like we just finished the thrust and slash. So instead of being in our stacked position, we actually want this stick out. All right, and so what we're doing is we're stepping out on the opposite, we're coming out to do that thrust, and basically what we're doing is we're hitting our stick as we're bringing this into our tuck. Now, what we want to do is hit our stick and go with the momentum. So I hit, and it already is wanting to go this way, so I keep that momentum going around to the other side shoulder and tuck in. So now I'm in my closed stance, but one stick is on the opposite side. Then we're gonna go hit, bring it back to the same shoulder, hit with the other stick like we normally do, draw it back like we've been doing on the other pieces, and then coming out for the third hit. And then leaving our sticks here, now we go to the other side. So we thrust, we hit our stick and let it come all the way around, and then tucking that one underneath, and we hit, back, hit, draw, and hit. Leaving our sticks out, we step out, thrust, and hit it around, right? And you see there, hit, and it automatically is tucking while this guy's coming over, and then we're set up. Hit, back, hit, pull, and hit other side. Thrust, hit, backside hit, regular hit, pull it, hit, and other. Boom, and around, hit, drop, thrust, reverse, hit, drop, thrust, reverse, hit, drop, thrust, reverse, hit, drop, thrust, reverse, hit, and drop, thrust, reverse, hit, drop, thrust, reverse, hit, drop, thrust, reverse, hit, drop. All right? So that's part number 3. We got 2 more parts to go through for closed flow number 4. The next one is low to high thrust. So on this one, what we're doing is instead of being set up high for this thrust, what we're doing is actually going into what we call our hip load. So we're down by our same side hip, and our other stick is out. So when we do this one, when we're coming through and we're doing the second side of our thrust reverse, when I come out, I thrust, I flip it over into the reverse, and then we come back, hit, and then when I pull this one back, instead of pulling it up high, what we're gonna do is we're gonna draw back and we're drawing it down low. So then from here, this is where we're starting. So we got our diagonal angle with our front stick, and our bottom stick, the one that we're thrusting with first, is loaded on the hip. So now I'm stepping out with the opposite foot again. I'm gonna thrust down low, and then what I'm doing is hitting the stick down, and that's flipping it up, right? And so as this one chambers, now I'm in the position to do the thrust, or sorry, the slash that we normally do. So slash, and then we're gonna come through hit, and then we're gonna drop down low as we step back and we get our third hit. Now we step out, thrust, hit it low, that's gonna flip it up and around right into the next slash, slash, and then drawing it back down to the hip low. We thrust, hit low, and bring up that slash up high. Then hit and draw back. Thrust, hit, and again, when we do this, we want it to flip right away. So it's not really that we're rechambering and then going, but as soon as we hit, it flips and goes right into that first slash, hit, and then draw it and go. Up, back, here. Low to high, hit, hit. 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 Low to high, hit, and hit. All right, part number 4, we got one part left, and then we're gonna go through the whole flow, just one right after the other. So the last one is what we call high to low thrust. This one does get a little wonky as well, because we are doing the 6-count pattern, but our sticks do end in some different positions than normal. So it really is kind of like we flipped the 6-count on its head. So what we're doing is we're doing the low 6-count with this guy, similar like when we're doing our basic 6 and we do all low hits instead of the high hits or the high lows or any of those. So what we're doing is on this one, so we finish, let's say we're doing the last side of the low to high, right? We thrust low, high, we hit, and we hit. What we're gonna do is we're actually bringing this stick up, but instead of aiming it high, we're pointing it down low. And then this guy's coming in, and what we're doing is thrusting at a lower angle here, coming up from high and coming down on a diagonal, and we're hitting the stick up, and that flips it around into a low hit, and this arm stick is on our shoulder, and then what we're doing is we're hitting down low, and then we're coming back into the low hit here. And then we're thrusting above, hitting our stick up, which flips it into the low hit. And normally, in the basic 6, this stick is underneath and comes from there. But what we're doing is this stick goes under, and this low hit is coming from above the shoulder. And then once again, we're going into our high hit, and we're drawing our stick up nice and high, and then back out, thrust, high to low, hit, and draw back hit. High to low, hit, hit, high to low, hit, hit. High to low, hit, hit. Woo, messed up. There we go. Hit, hit. High to low, 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 hit, hit. So those are all of our 6 pieces. So now once we start putting them together, one of the things that kind of makes this part and this flow more challenging than the others is that once we get to the thrust reverse, we got to start to remember that we're loading our stick in a different position on each of those, where when we're doing our basic 6, our umbrella 6, or even the broken 6 flows, we basically came back to the loading position, the same one for every single one of those different parts. So on this one, our load position does change a bit. So going through it a little bit slow, we're going to start with the thrust 6, then the thrust and slash, then thrust reverse, then low to high, and then high to low, and just doing each one once on each side before flipping over. So here we go, starting out. We're stacked up on our right side. Remember, the top stick is pointing at our opponent. We're stepping out opposite foot, We thrust, hit, hit as we drop back, thrust, hit, hit, same load position, thrust and slash, hit, hit, thrust and slash, hit, hit, and then now thrust reverse. So we're in the same load position, but this one we got to remember not to tuck our stick right away. So now we thrust and reverse, hit, hit, holding our position, thrust, reverse, hit, hit. Now on that one, that's where we got to remember that we're coming into the low load versus this higher load like we've been using so far. So then we go low to high, hit, hit, loading low on that hip, thrust to high, hit, hit, and now again loading up, not in the normal load where our stick is kind of flat and pointing at our opponent's head, but actually pointing down kind of more to the bladder area. So the load is up high, and then we're thrusting over our stick and hitting it up into that low, 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 loading up, low to our high to low, 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 and then now we're back at thrust, ooh, hit, hit, I had the wrong position, thrust, hit, hit, thrust and slash, hit, hit, thrust and slash, hit, hit, thrust, reverse, hit, hit, thrust, reverse, hit, hit, remember hip load, low to high, hit, hit, low to high, hit, hit, and high to low, hit, hit, high to low, hit, hit, back to thrust, hit, hit, thrust, hit, hit, thrust and slash, hit, hit, thrust and slash, hit, hit, thrust, reverse, hit, hit, thrust, reverse, hit, hit, low, 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 low to high, hit, hit, low to high, hit, hit, high to low, hit, hit, high to low, hit, hit. So again, that is all of closed flow number 4. So again, the footwork stays the same as we work through it, and we are constantly just in that, the true V-step, right? Going forwards and backwards. But again, it is always the opposite foot. So if I'm thrusting with this hand, then the other foot is the one that's in front. And that doesn't change. However, it is different than all of the other closed flows that we've done. So that does tend to mess with people's heads as well. And not only is it the changing of the strikes, but it also is remembering that we're loading a little bit differently on most of them, right? So now finishing our video up here, we're going to do this a few times through with a partner, right? And seeing where, because some of these, on all of the other flows that we've done, with the exception of the away abanico, we basically hit sticks on every single strike that we do. But with this flow, when we're doing it with our partner, every time we're doing that initial thrust, we never are actually hitting sticks on the initial thrust. So, for instance, on the very first one, when we come out and we're doing that, the Sunkiti 6 or the thrust 6, we completely just miss each other with that first thrust. So on that one, you're only hitting sticks twice on each side versus hitting sticks 3 times like all the other ones, or more, right? And then the rest of them, we are missing on the thrust, but then hitting on the next slash that we're doing. So let's go through it. So we start again on the right side, standing on the back of the V. And if you're doing this with a partner, this is a good time to just measure out, because what we want to be is a little further away than normal, right? So this is what we call long range. So again, ranges with our sticks, we have long, medium, and short range. So long range is when we can reach out and hit each other's hands, but that's about it, right? And then medium range, if Miss G stays where she is and I step forward, then now she can touch my shoulder and I can touch her shoulder, right? So this is what we call medium range. And then if we both put our sticks up and we step forwards, now I can punch her and she can punch me. This would be short range stick work. So what we're doing is starting at long range, and then every time that, because we're on the back of the V, now when she steps forward and I step forwards, wrong foot, there we go. Now we're in medium range. So I can touch her shoulder, she can touch my shoulder. And that's really where the stick work is happening, right? When we're stepping away in that long range, as long as my hand isn't sticking out there, she can't hit me, I can't hit her, right? Right? So medium range is really where we're working. So each time, that's really what the V step is it's stepping into where we can actually make contact and hit each other, but then stepping out of that range and then going in on the other side. So this is truly working the engage and disengage, versus like when we're doing the basic V step, right? When we are already out on the V, we should be in medium range. So if we're doing like basic sticks, we're staying in medium range the entire time, right? And we're never moving in or out. We're just switching sides on that V, but because we're stepping up and then back, we're never truly disengaging away and then coming back in. So that's kind of the difference on this footwork here. So we start out on our right side, and we are going to, again, step with our left foot first, right? So when she steps out, I step out, and we're thrusting right past each other, and then hit, and then we go to the other side, thrust, hit. Then we go thrust, flip it into that slash, and that actually is making contact, hit, thrust and slash, hit, and then thrust reverse. So now we're here, we reverse it, and we're getting that hit up top, and then hit, thrust, reverse, 1, 2, and then that's where we bring it down low on the hip. We're going low to high, low to high, and then loading up on that shoulder, going above and flipping it down. 2, 3, 1, hit. Now we're back at the beginning. Thrust, hit, thrust, hit, thrust and slash, hit, thrust and slash, hit, thrust, reverse, thrust, reverse, low to high, high to low, and back. 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, thrust and slash, 2, 3, thrust and slash, 2, 3, thrust reverse, 2, 3, thrust reverse, 2, 3, low to high, 2, 3, low to high, 2, 3, high to low, 2, 3, high to low, 2, 3, and slash, 1, 2, slash, 2, 3, thrust and slash, 2, 3, thrust and slash, 2, 3, high reverse, 2, 3, high reverse, 2, 3, low to high, 2, 3, low to high, 2, 3, high to low, 2, 3, high to low, 2, 3, and one more time. One more time, why not? All right, so that is all of closed flow number 4, once again. So going through this is a great video to just kind of work yourself through and just kind of build through all the different techniques and just get that practice in. Good way to kind of work on this stuff is just kind of start out and just kind of work on getting those flip arounds, right? And just kind of on either side. So you can go around, right? Low to high, high to low. And just kind of stick your stick out and just work on, give it that little energy, right? And just get it used to kind of doing those flip arounds and get really good at just letting that momentum go. Purpose of this, because it's very rare in a fight that you're going to hit your own stick and change it but this is kind of working on being very adaptable in a scenario. Let's say, if Mrs. G's in any one of her set stances, really doesn't matter, right? But if I'm coming in and I go for a thrust, basically the best way to defend against a thrust is either going to be, just trying to hit that stick, right? Boom. And that's the idea, right? Is you're hoping that when you get the hit, that you actually knock the stick out of the person's hand, right? And so a lot of times in Kali, the first thing that we throw is a fake. So generally what we're trying to do is get a commitment so that we can change and move to something different. And that's really what we're doing here. If I'm thrusting on this one, she hits the stick, and you notice that when she hits the stick, that commits her stick to end up on the other side. And because of where the other stick's position is, go ahead, right, boom, it makes it very difficult for her to be able to come up and defend on that guy there. She can maybe try to abanico, but generally what that's going to do is just push my stick into her head even faster, even easier. So same deal, if I'm coming low to, when I'm coming here, she hits, right, then it allows me to flip that stick up. Or if, like, for some reason she's in more of a lower set and I'm coming in a thrust, then that's going to open up these lines to the legs. So that's really what we're training for on this. And there are times when we're kind of in this position that we may thrust and kind of change that with our own stick. But again, all of these thrusts are fakes, right? Except for the first one. The first one literally is I'm really coming at her to thrust. And that one's just assuming that if she's using, and really that one is a counter to the basic 6 count. So if she's set up on the one side, right, if she's coming in for the first hit, not the basic 6, right, she goes basic 6 and coming in this way, right, then what I'm doing, go ahead and set it up again, right, as she's coming out to hit, what I'm doing is moving off to the side and either trying to catch her before that hit comes through, or she goes to hit and I'm coming through afterwards. And so that's kind of that counter, is when they're expecting this motion to be coming, right, then what I'm doing is boom, and now I get the inside hit, boom, and there's my hits, right?
1, 2, 3, done.
So again, that's some of the purposes behind what we're doing with the thrusting series. But again, most important right now is that we're working on the flow. That we're building up just that ability and getting the dexterity with our sticks. And that's really what these flow drills are about, is getting to the point where we can do all these crazy weird motions and move really quickly, so that later as we get into defending strikes, learning how to disarm, how to get inside, even into stick grappling and knife work, that we are built up the dexterity so that we don't really have to think about these motions, but somebody starts to throw a strike at us and we just know how to respond with our stick really smoothly. So train hard, and thanks for joining us.